Have you ever thought about a recycling mandate in the United States? Well, today you will find out as I'll be sharing with you the pros and cons of a recycling mandate. My name is Sanders, and my goal is to research the possibility of a recycling mandate in the United States and determine if the recycling mandate would overall benefit or hurt our country. First, I'll be sharing with you the pros of the recycling mandate, and more specifically, how recycling reduces our need for raw materials. Recycling is the process of converting waste materials into new materials and objects. Recycling materials include many kinds of glass, paper, cardboard, metal, plastic, tires, textiles, batteries, and electronics. In ideal situations, recycling the material produces a fresh supply of the same material. For example, office paper would be recycled and then transformed into new office paper. The recycling process involves three main steps that include collecting the recyclables, processing the recyclables, and purchasing the recyclables. The first step of the recycling process is collection. The methods of collection vary depending upon the community. However, there are four main methods of collection that include curbside pickup, drop-off centers, buyback centers, and deposit/refund programs. Once the materials are cleaned and sorted, the recyclables are processed to retrieve the raw materials. All recyclables need to be broken down, melted, or liquefied into their basic elements before they can either be made directly into new materials or mixed with other resources to be made into new materials. The last step of the recycling process involves purchasing. Whether you are just an individual consumer or a part of a community, a government, or business organization, you have an important role in making recycling a success by buying recycled. As consumers demand more environmentally sound products, manufacturers will continue to meet the demand by producing high-quality recycled products. Next, I will talk about how recycling keeps our environment healthy and clean. Recycling keeps materials out of landfills, where they can introduce contaminants into groundwater systems. Recycling and waste prevention divert materials from incinerators, which reduce greenhouse gas emissions, ash, and other pollutants caused by waste combustion. Recycling, composting, and diverting organic waste from landfills reduce the methane that would be released if these materials decomposed in a landfill. Recycling also helps our oceans by reducing plastic, as plastic is the most common type of trash found in the ocean. And recycling certainly limits the amount of plastic waste. Reducing plastic waste in oceans also helps protect ocean wildlife, as plastic pollutions in oceans threatens the safety of many ocean species, and protecting ocean wildlife is crucial for maintaining biodiversity within our oceans. Next, I will discuss how recycling decreases pollution and energy consumption in our environment. Recycling prevents the emissions of many greenhouse gas emissions and water pollutants, as recycling cuts air pollution by 73% and water pollution by 35%. Most people may not realize that recycling saves Earth's natural resources. By recycling plastic goods, for example, factories don't spend as much money to manufacture new plastic products from petroleum, saving on mining and extraction costs, and preserving fossil fuels and natural resources. Recycling cuts back on energy consumption. For example, by recycling plastic bottles alone, companies save up to 60% of the cost to make new bottles. If the whole world recycled aluminum twice as much as it already does, more than 1 million tons of pollutants would be kept out of the atmosphere. I will now shift to discussing the cons of the recycling mandate, and more specifically, how the recycling mandate could potentially violate American rights. Oliver Wendell Holmes states, "If there is any principle of the Constitution that more impermanently calls for attachment than any other, is the principle of free thought. Not free thought for those who agree with us, but freedom for the thought that we hate." Oliver Wendell Holmes was a justice in the Supreme Court during Theodore Roosevelt's presidency in the early 1900s. This quote means that the most important part of the Constitution is freedom of thought and freedom of opinion. This quote is coming from an important figure in American history, and it shows how the recycling mandate could violate American rights by enforcing every American to recycle. Next, I'll talk about the economic impact of the recycling mandate. Recycling costs money. It's not free. Someone is going to have to pay for the new machines, the workers to operate the facility, and all the other utility and production costs. The government would have an option if they were to enforce the recycling mandate. Either everyone would be required to pay the average $25 fee to enroll in a recycling program, or the government makes it free for everyone and they increase their taxes on the American people. Either way, this is costing Americans more money, which some Americans just don't have and they can't afford another expense, as the poverty line, as 11.4% of Americans are below the poverty line. Lastly, I will discuss the enforcing problems that come with the recycling mandate. The recycling mandate also begs the question of how will this law be created and enforced? How will the government ensure that everyone follows the mandate? What exactly will be the consequence of not following the law? These are all questions that we just don't know the answer to and could potentially lead to problems down the road when the government is designing this new recycling law. My opinion. Overall, I believe that the pros far outweigh the cons in this situation, as recycling is a necessity for our environment, as recycling will greatly help reduce global warming across the United States and slow the rate of the deadly effects of climate change. Although there may be some challenges when creating and enforcing the recycling mandate, it's what's best for Americans, as it will overall better the health for our planet and ensure great lives for our future children. If you'd like to support this cause of recycling mandate, go to this website today to sign the petition for the government to enforce a recycling mandate. Thank you for your time. How many minutes?